So this is part of our fight that we really have to be very, very, very aware of. And real
Yeah.
quickly, Leanne, I don't want our time to go too much, but I think this is important. He talked about the great windstorm where Jesus and the disciples got into the boat and crossed over the lake, and
Right.
they were going to meet the madman of Gadara, remember? Who had a legion of devils.
Yeah.
And this was a part of breakthrough getting ready to happen. And they're in the boat, and he talks about the great windstorm that arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that it already was filling. And it talks about, he said, the disciples were fighting against the waves. When Jesus was awakened, he didn't speak to the waves. He spoke to the wind. He was saying that when you're in the midst of these kinds of battles, he said, you will many times fight the symptoms, but that's not the root.
True.
And in this here, it talks about the turbulence. It was a mega storm. And the waves equal a monster waves that continued one after the other. Notice this, from many directions, those waves beat into the boat. He said normal storms come from one direction. The waves go one way. But the waves were coming at them every which way, which means they weren't fighting the waves, but they were actually being fought by demonic powers coming against them to stop them. And now I won't read this anymore, but interestingly enough, how amazing is Jesus? That because he was able to recognize this, he was asleep on a little pillow. He said the pillow was just a little tiny thing, which means he probably was curled up in the front. And all this is going on and he's sleeping. And when they awakened him, they basically were saying, are you kidding me? How in the world can you sleep while we're out here dying?
Yeah.
And when Jesus rebuked them, he was saying, what in the world is going on here? Why didn't one of you take care of this? And when he rebuked, this is really interesting. He said, we use the word rebuke. We say, I rebuke you, devil. He said, but the word rebuke just means the manner in which he did what he did. He didn't say, I rebuke you. And I knew this because I had a little story with Chloe one time when she was at Karis and was just in horrible stomach pain. And when we got there, it just looked horrible. People were saying, we got to take her to the doctor. And I sat down and all I did, Leanne, was say, devil, you're such a loser. You're such a loser that you've got to climb ladders just to get up to even where I'm at. You'll never be what I am. You'll always be a fallen angel. You're not even on God's side. You're nothing like him. I'm exactly like him. And I chided him and I made fun of him. And all of a sudden you could feel something change. And Chloe goes, I felt an angel just go by me, and boom, symptoms disappeared.
Yeah.
Because that's what Jesus did. Jesus looks at the demonic in the storm and he says, you're a loser. You're never going to make it. You know you can't overcome. There's nothing you can do to stop me. And then he said, once he said that to the demonic powers, he said, now peace. And this is what he brought out. He said, when he said, be still, it's like shushing a baby. He didn't yell at the wind because the wind would do whatever he wanted done. He had to make fun of or chide or interrogate the powers behind the wind. But when it came time to actually getting nature to be quiet, once he took care of the enemy, all he had to do was go, and the wind stopped blowing, and there was immediately a great calm. And this is what I love what he brought out. The devil brought great confusion and great waves. Jesus brought great peace and great calm. Isn't that so good?
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. I was so
Wow.
fired up just hearing this. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I think to a little degree, Leanne, I've been bailing water.
Yeah.
You
Me too.
fighting against all this that's coming against our healing center, coming against our minds. And I've been bailing water.
Yep. Yep.
The waves are not the issue. It's the power behind trying to stop what we're doing. We need to just laugh at the devil.
It's the truth. It's the
Tell him
truth.
he's such a loser, and
Yes.
then just to the situation, just shh.